We wanted to show you how quickly and dramatically rain transforms the landscape here in our part of the world, Old Sacramento. We're on the banks of the mighty Sacramento River. We are 40 yards or so west of the Sacramento History Museum. The water is as high as it's been this winter. There was significant storms in November, a few storms in December. January was dry, and then last week was a storm, and then this weekend was a storm, and tomorrow will be a storm, and next week is supposed to be several storms, and the water is likely to get higher. But before the storms hit, the water had dropped down to kind of a late summer low, about 22 feet below the high water mark, just above the number 1 on the gauge that you see there. And now the water is about 14 feet below that mark. So it's gone up all that distance just over the last week, and it's traveling fast. My walking pace would tell me that's got to be more than 4 miles an hour. This is a walkway. It is completely covered in water. This area is barricaded, so we won't get too close to the water, although Alex is trying his best. But we want to show you all the changes that come just to Old Sacramento from the storm. Besides this flooded path, come see what else is in store. All these storms are those atmospheric river storms. I'm beginning to think there will never be a storm again in California that isn't called an atmospheric river storm. Very heavy, dense with moisture storms, the same kind of storms that caused flooding when the city began, especially the flood in 1861-62. So right now, small fishing boats can get underneath the I Street Bridge here, but the touring boat like City Cruises, larger boats, they are going to require the I Street Bridge to disengage from the traffic and spin on that center axis to make way for the boats. And if City Cruises goes downriver, as it usually does, past the Tower Bridge, then the Tower Bridge will have to raise to allow it to come through. But more changes down here. Just last week, you're likely to see people just sunbathing here on the river down there where the sycamore trees are underwater. They would just sit and enjoy the scenery, but not this week, probably not next week. Gonna have to wait a while. It's gonna be a wet series of storms. You don't even have to go down to the river to see how high the water level is. You just judge by the Delta King, which is once a working steamboat and is now a restaurant hotel. Usually you can see the smokestack from street level. Now the water's so high you can see the whole ship from street level. I like to walk along the floating dock right on the water surface, and on normal days I take this ramp, which usually goes up to that landing and then descend the stairs that gets me down to the floating dock. But the water is so high, this ramp has been detached from the top of there and dropped down directly onto the floating dock. So even if I wanted to go up the stairs as I normally would, I just have to go back down. There's no access. So everything is so high they had to drop this ramp down to the waterway. And let's go down there. We'll show you what's going on. This staircase is still accessible, so I can climb up and down that. Last week, that ramp that connects the staircase to the waterfront was just about level. Not this week. Some things have changed dramatically. Some other things stay the same. And this is a new phenomenon. Sea lions have taken up residence here across the river, and they are bathing now. The speed of the water does not seem to faze them. In fact, if my eyes don't deceive me, the population of this sea lion group has tripled in the last month. This City Cruises boat, the Capital Hornblower, typically goes upstream. The I Street Bridge spins to allow it access. Then it goes downstream. The center of the Tower Bridge raises like an elevator to give it access, and then it comes back. So as the City Cruises boat goes up and down river, the bridges are going to get a lot of work. We're not in any danger from the rising waters. We are a river city, and we have been mindful since the city began about the flood dangers. But as a river city, we just keep watching the waters. This switchback ramp access from the floating dock up to the waterfront has been closed by the city. It's just a little too steep because of the rising water for safe access. So the storms will probably keep it closed for quite some time.